Welcome to the episode 202 of Soul Infused Monday, called How to Feel Safe When There's Nothing to Hold On to. Welcome to the show. I'm grateful that you're here. My name is Sonia Bueno de la Torre, and this is the show for an inspired and meaningful way. Now, I want to back off a little bit and share, like, what do I mean by not feeling safe, and what do I mean by not being able to hold on to? Now, if you're live on the show, leave me a comment and say hello. And if you are watching this or listening into this, and on the recording, you might not be able to leave a comment or engage with me live. So just be aware of that. But I always appreciate a message or a review, depending on where you are listening in. Hi, Jessica. So there are many, many things that I could say about how to feel safe. I'm going to focus on two. But ultimately, it's like there has always been a lot of uncertainty in our world. Like, ultimately, we never really know anything. But in the last 2 years, because of the pandemic, because of COVID, because of new regulations, because of mandates, because of so many other craziness, that it feels like even more uncontrollable and even more uncertain. And it is even more important right now to stay awake, to stay alert, to stay conscious and centered. And in order to do that, you got to have a feeling inside of feeling safe. Now, I'm going to address this, as always, from an energetical perspective, because I've been doing energy work for over 26 years. That's my jam. Everything is energy. So from an energetical perspective, there's a part in us, or a sense, that when we don't feel safe, we have the tendency to go into patterns that are more unconscious, patterns that are more on autopilot than a conscious choice. So today I want to share with you how you can actually make yourself feel safe, even when there's a sense of there's nothing to hold on to, there's nothing secure in my life. Now, two ways of addressing this. One way is really internally, there is a part in us that doesn't feel safe. Now, I also want to say, you might not be aware of it consciously and say, oh, I don't feel safe. No, maybe not. However, every time you feel a moment of insecurity, a moment of anxiety, a moment of doubting yourself, a moment of fear, there is a sense and an element of not feeling safe deep inside. Does that make sense? Hello, I see you. And therefore, you can do a lot on the outside to give you a sensation of safety. Like, you can have money in your bank, you can have a house with a roof, you can have a support system, and all of these things are valid and important. Now, however, whether you have money in your bank or not, whether you have a roof on top of your head or not, whether you have people around you, now that's never guaranteed. And even though you can support that feeling of feeling safe, the true feeling comes from a different place. Because, and I am curious who can relate to this, even when you have sometimes the money, or you know it, or you know that there's always a backup plan, or whatever it is, we still sometimes feel anxious. We still sometimes don't feel safe because another pattern is coming up, or another belief is coming up, or some circumstance. Now, I just wanted to say that because I want to focus on really what you can do internally, because feeling safe is an inner state of being. Again, you can support it with having money in your bank, or having a car or having a job, whatever that looks like for you on the outside. And that is important as well. However, that's not the piece that is going to make you feel safe if there's an underlying issue. Okay. And so the first thing I invite you to use food for thought here is that we so often judge ourselves when we feel anxious, insecure, doubt, or even if you are aware that you're not feeling safe. There's very quickly a self-judgment here, right? I cannot tell you how many times I hear from my clients, because I work mainly with people who have been on the path for a long time, who've done a lot of inner exploration, a lot of inner healing, and they are digging deeper. They're going further. There's something missing for them. And I so often hear, I still am struggling with anxiety, or I am still dealing with self-doubt, or I hate feeling anxious. Like all of these words and statements that come from a self-judgmental place. Now, that's not going to help. So I invite you right away to really embrace the fact, and I'm going to repeat this, that everybody is dealing with this in some way or another. Anxiety, doubt, fear. It's part of our experience here on planet Earth. It's normal. It's okay. And judging yourself is not going to make it better. Now, there's a difference on how you deal with it and how intense it runs your life. But if this resonates with you, and you are someone that has the tendency to judge yourself for feeling a certain way, for dealing with something a certain way, I invite you to take a deep breath right now and choose to be loving and kind to yourself, because you're not alone and everybody struggles with this in one way or another. So take a nice deep breath. It has been really crazy. And there's always going to be something crazy going on in this world. So I want to invite you to take a moment to reflect on your own life for a moment and go away from the whole overwhelm. Because when you are not connected deep inside, when you're not centered, you're outside of yourself, and then you are overwhelmed easily. And then you maybe look at the news, or you look at the politics, or you look what's going on with mandates and things that are terrible in some ways. I'm not going to go into too much detail in here, but there are things going on in the world that we have to stand up for. Like, we cannot just look and sit back and just, hope things just gonna pass by. No, more than ever right now, it's important to stay awake, to stay standing, and to stand up. And you need to feel safe to do that. So one way is to really address the inner child. And if the inner child is a concept that's new to you, I spoke about this in previous episodes that you can go back, but in very short terms, we all have, I call it a sub-personality, a being, an inner child in us that is living in us and still sometimes revisiting the things that happened to us in childhood. So when we feel very emotional, or when we feel like an extreme, intense trigger, it's always a sign that there is a wounding from the past. So you want to make sure that your inner child within your own system feels safe. And that's easier said than done. That's a big piece of inner work. One of the most important ones, by the way. And you don't do that through thinking, okay? However, if you have been watching with me, and if you've been watching me and you've been following me, working with me, I know you most likely know about that concept. So you want to check in with yourself and talk to this part. You gotta take care of that part, because if you don't, nobody else will, and then the freak out inside will just accumulate and accumulate. And it can be as simple as pausing for a moment. You feel yourself, you're anxious, you are freaking out about something, or you're insecure, or you're in very strong self-judgment or addiction, like whatever the pattern is, it doesn't really matter. But you catch yourself looking at it, it's like, wow, I'm feeling this right now. And then I invite you to really go in, and you can do this right now. You can even put a hand on your belly if that helps, because energetically, from the chakra system, of course, the inner child is involved everywhere and affects everything. However, it kind of sits in the belly as the most vulnerable, emotional kind of part of our energy system. So if you want, you can take a hand, you put it on your belly, you take a deep breath, and you literally imagine yourself as a young child inside, and you talk to this person. You talk to this little being. And you say to her the things that she maybe needed to hear when she was younger. I see you. I hear you. It's okay that you feel this way. You are safe right now. I'm here for you. And if you just did that with me, if you just dared to explore, and you have your hand on your belly and you're talking to this inner child, you've maybe even already noted a little shift. Did you notice a little shift? And just try it again. Put your hand in the belly, speak, and whatever you feel like you need to hear, or what you needed to hear when you were little. Another thing that I want to add, there's so much. The inner child work takes years of real dedication, and there's so much more to say about it. But I just want to point out this one piece, in addition to also, when you talk to this inner child, when you connect to your inner child, also let her see your life through your eyes, because that part lives in the reality of a child. I give you an example. Now, let's say I recently, this year, I had surgery. And so part of me was terrified because it was triggering all trauma. Now, the intensity of the fear was not really in alignment with who I am today. But that part didn't know that. That part was still, young, living in its own little bubble, didn't see. They have not lived yet here. So we can talk to them. And I was talking to it twice, like, I'm not 16 years old anymore, whatever age you're addressing. I'm able to take care of myself. I'm able to say no. I will take care of you. I know you were alone back then, but now I am here. And look outside. This is where we live. This is how safe we are. You might think this is kind of crazy or weird, but it's so powerful, because you have the power to make yourself feel safe, right? And of course, I'm not talking about situations where you are in direct danger of abuse, of assault, or somebody's attacking you. I'm talking about that internal feeling of feeling safe, so that you are centered and you feel powerful, so that you can make a conscious choice and be in the world very alert, mindful, and intentional. Right? Does that make sense? And if you do have any questions or any comments, please leave the comments. I see them. I love to see them. I always love to engage with you. And again, if you are listening to this in a different platform and you cannot leave a comment, leave me a message. Leave me a review. I always love to connect with you. So one way to help you feel safe when you feel like there's really nothing to hold on to is to go inside, speak to that part, to the inner child, or whichever part is addressed or triggered, and also use acceptance, acknowledgement, and acceptance. Okay? And one other thing I want to say to this, also, don't forget how you felt when you were a child, because it's so easy. Also, when you have children, this is super valuable if you actually have children as well. Now, how easy is it if a child comes and is devastated about something? Somebody took the doll at kindergarten, or the boy that you like didn't like you back, and you feel devastated, And it seems like such a big deal. And as an adult, we say easily, yeah, it's not a big deal, you'll be fine. It's like, it's not, it's just drama. Now, of course, we want to tell them, hey, it's all going to be fine and I'm here for you. But for them, that's the only world they have. And to really remember how devastated you might have been in the past and how dramatic life was when you felt rejected by a boy or a girl, or if a teacher said something that was hurtful, that now it seemed like it's not a big deal, but it was a big deal back then. So remember that, don't forget it, and don't brush it off when this part in you feels this way. And you really sit there and say, hey, I hear you. Well, yeah, that is so devastating. Yeah, and you can even say, yeah, I remember, because you know best. So be kind, be compassionate, be honest, and go into communication with your inner child. Now, the other way that I wanted to share with you is just purely energetically. And if you have not watched last week's episode 201 about 3 ways to release anxiety quickly, that's going to be super valuable, because I talk about that there as well. In order to feel safe, it's an internal process, and you got to be centered within yourself. When your energy is outside of yourself, you're just like this little, grass in the wind, or you don't have stability, you're not grounded. It's way easier to get thrown off. So the first thing is you want to go in, energetically go in and unplug from what's making you anxious on the outside, or making you not feel safe, or at least you think that's on the outside. So you bring your energy back in. You bring your energy back in. You center yourself. By doing that, and also using your breath, you want to come back to the present moment. Because when we don't feel safe, again, unless it's a specific now time situation that is occurring in a threatening way, I'm not talking about that one. Generally, we are not in the present moment. Something gets triggered and we don't feel safe. We are afraid of someone's reaction. We are maybe anxious about what someone else is saying, gonna think about us. Maybe we have a different truth than what the outside is saying. That's scary. And right now, even more. The division right now is so like polarities, and the disconnection between people right now is stronger than ever, in a sad way. So you kind of fight each other. If it's like black or white, against vaccine, not for vaccine, freedom, forcing, like there's so much struggle with that it's sometimes that we might feel unsafe to say, hey, this is my opinion, or I don't agree with that, or you know what, I don't want this for myself, and I'm gonna be an advocate for my own best version of what I want to do in my life. So of course there are moments where you not going to feel safe, because in the past there were experiences when you got hurt or rejected or even maybe punished. Does that make sense? Is this landing here for you? Leave me a comment and let me know if this is landing, if you can resonate, if you can relate, and if you have felt this way yourself. So first thing is really bring your energy back in, so that you even have a chance to shift into a state of feeling more safe. Now, only going in will help, but that's not the only way. You also want to go up. Now, I often teach the 4 energy flows: in, up, down, and out. But why the up is so important? You gotta shift your energy so that your head is outside, like above water. Because when you are in it, when you are doubting, insecure, triggered, in emotional distress, you gotta shift somewhere else in order to change that. I like, it relates a little bit. Albert Einstein's quote that how you cannot resolve your problems with the state of mind how you created them. I mean, I'm paraphrasing this, right? But with the same thinking, you cannot solve a problem with the same thinking than when you created it. Now, that is a mindset shift in a way, but for me, it's an energy shift. So if you are feeling anxious, scared, angry, triggered, overwhelmed, you're not going to change that by staying there. But you're also not going to change it by judging yourself. Just as a reminder, you're not going to change or solve the problem by judging yourself or fighting it. You want to address it. You want to bring your energy in, and then you want to connect to something that's higher than the pattern, that's higher than the emotion, higher than the belief or the drama. So you really want to go in, bring the energy in, come back to presence, breathe up, really disconnect from the lower turmoil in the chakras and go up. And whatever that means to you, to your higher self, to God, to the universe, to existence, to light, to love, to wisdom, there's no right or wrong. So for you to feel safe, you gotta be connected in and to source. Yeah, I see here. Thank you, Norma and Linda and Jessica, Tine. Yeah, it's landing. DC, Fear. Yes, this is landing. Thank you. Yeah. So, of course, that's a skill. Shifting your energy takes time, dedication. Now, I'm a huge advocate of having a routine in the morning and meditating and also taking quality time with yourself. Now, I'm going to be, as always, very straightforward. If you don't do this every day to cultivate it, you're not going to have it available when you need it the most. Meaning, don't meditate when you feel like, oh my God, this is such a bad moment. Oh, I need to meditate. Often that's too late. You won't have the calmness to even sit down. Don't wait to do this work to make you feel safe until to the point where you feel like you're freaking out. This is a daily hygiene, emotionally, mentally, energetically, you get to do every day so that you can feel safe, centered, and ready and awake. And that doesn't mean you're not going to be anxious anymore. That doesn't mean you're not going to get triggered anymore. That just means you are going to be able to deal with it in a better way, and it might not last that long. So you have the power to shift that for you so that you can, right now, when it seems like the world is going nuts, at least I see it that way sometimes, what's happening, it's scary. In some ways, what's globally happening, it's scary, it's not good. And at the same time, it's good because it's part of the process of transformation. It is what it is, and it is for a reason what it is. And you can choose what you focus on because energy follows attention. Now, there's so much more that I can say about this, and I will in the future. But for now, I invite you to tune in for a moment, take a deep breath, take a deep breath, and tune into what is the most valuable thing you're hearing today that is landing for you. Just take that moment. Take that moment. What's resonating? What's landing? What is your biggest takeaway? And leave me a message or leave me a comment here and share that with me, because it's valuable for you to tune in, to embody it, to anchor it, to share it, to give it as a gift and receive another one maybe as a gift. Take another breath. Take another deep breath. Practice this right now. Stay present. Bring your energy back in. If you need to talk to your child, just, hey, it's all good. I'm here with you. It's okay that you're anxious or whatever's going on. Just do it right now. What is your biggest takeaway? And I also want to give you resources, because when it comes to shifting your energy, there's so much you can do, and especially with meditation. And I have so many free resources. This alone is already free. So come every Monday, and thank you for being here. Thank you means the world to me. Coming back every Monday for you to learn, to listen, to grow, to support each other, to connect to like-minded people. Like, we are in this together. And there are a lot of people. I want you to know, so many light beings feel hopeless at the moment, or overwhelmed, or scared. And you're not alone. There's so much light. There's so much good in the world. Focus on that. Connect with that. Connect with each other. Support each other to stay uplifted, to stay hopeful, to stand up. And you gotta have that first deep inside. And it's okay that it is scary sometimes. It scares me every time. We are all like, it's not about not having fear anymore. It's about speaking up or being yourself as much as you can, nevertheless. Okay, I want to share a few takeaways. So if you haven't shared your takeaway yet, give yourself that gift and give someone else that gift to share your biggest takeaway, because it's a gift for yourself. Because when you express it, you allow yourself to really implement it more likely than if you don't. Okay. So here are a few takeaways. One, getting centered and talking to the inner child. Yeah, huge takeaway. Thank you for sharing. Listen and help that little one of mine. Yes, same takeaway, different words. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. Another takeaway. Checking in with my inner child. Yeah, I see a pattern here. And so happy to hear that, because that's so crucial. And let's be honest, when was the last time you really took time for your inner child? When did you check in? Say, hey, how are you feeling today? I'm here. I'm protecting you. I got this. I've gone through a lot of things in my life, and I got this too. Another takeaway, talking to my inner child and remembering how she feels and reassuring her. Thank you for sharing the wisdom. You're so welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank goodness we are in this together. Yeah, we are in this together. Yes. Yes, I hear you. It's landing, having trouble finding words. That's okay. As long as it's landing, you let it percolate deep inside. Biggest takeaway. You can choose what you focus on. Energy follows attention. If you feel anxious, bring your energy in, connect to something higher. Beautiful takeaway. Thank you for sharing. And Juan is saying, connect with your inner Juan. I love it. Yes, connect deep within, go up. And maybe you've noticed, just being here on the show today, being connected, listening, me doing that, I think you might already have shifted your energy. Maybe you do feel more grounded. Maybe you do feel more safe. Check in with your inner child. And if you want further support on a daily basis, go and have some of my free guided meditations. You find them on the Insight Timer app, for example, completely for free. You have resources for free on my website. You have resources here on Facebook. You have resources on YouTube. You have resources on Instagram. You can go anywhere. You just have to decide to do it. Okay? Ooh, wonderful. Take a deep breath again. I'm happy that you were here. Please come back next Monday again for a new episode of Soul Infused Monday. And I invite you, and I hope I inspired you to tune inwards, come back in, to do whatever it takes to feel safe so that you can be here in the world as awakened and conscious as possible, because we really need to stay together and lift up the planet at this moment. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. I will see you next week. Much love.